Hello students, welcome to Botany Tutorials. Here you will get the lectures which are meant for undergraduate BSc medical students. These lectures have been prepared under the aegis of Directorate of Higher Education, Haryana. I am Dr. Anju Tanwar from Botany Department, Government PG College, Ambala, Kent. So today, students, we are going to learn about an alga, that is Oedogonium. I will cover this topic in two parts, Oedogonium Part 1 and Oedogonium Part 2. In Oedogonium Part 1, you will get to learn about the plant thallus as well as the life history of Oedogonium except for the sexual reproduction, which we will cover in Part 2. So let's start with Oedogonium. The objective of this lecture is first to understand about the systematic position of Oedogonium. Then what are the salient features of this alga? Its habitat and occurrence. Then you will get to know about the structure of thallus and cell ultrastructure. Then a special type of cell division is seen in this alga, which is also a characteristic feature of this alga that helps in the plant growth. And finally, reproduction. Reproduction in case of Oedogonium, it can occur by vegetative means, that includes fragmentation, asexual means, that includes the formation of spores, that could be zoospore or echinete. And lastly, sexual reproduction, which we will cover in Part 2 of this lecture. So, students, first we should know about the systematic position of this alga. Oedogonium, it belongs to kingdom Plantae. Division is Chlorophyta. Class Chlorophyceae. Order Oedogoniales. This order Oedogoniales, it has only one family, that is Oedogoniaceae. And family Oedogoniaceae, it is comprised of 3 genera with a total of around 400 species. These genera are Oedocladium, Bulbocete, and Oedogonium. Among all of 3, Oedogonium is the only genus in which the plant body is unbranched, and it is by far the commonest in the family, that forms 285 species in total. Now coming to the salient features of Oedogonium. The thallus in Oedogonium, it is filamentous and unbranched. The cells are uninucleate and the position of nucleus is parietal. The shape of the cells is cylindrical. The vegetative cells, they show apical basal polarity because the cell is broader near the anterior end. The chloroplast is parietal network with the padded portion enclosing perinoids. All the reproductive cells of Oedogonium, that is zoospores, androspores, and male gamete, which is known as enterozoid. They bear numerous flagella around their anterior end. Asexual reproduction, it occurs by means of multiflagellated zoospores which are formed inside a special structure that is known as zoosporangium. Sexual reproduction is of advanced oogamy type, which is comprised of two sex organs, that is oogonium, which is the female sex organ and produces egg, and antheridium, which is the male sex organ and it produces enterozoids. These sex organs can be produced either on the same filament or on the different filaments. And some species of Oodogonium, they are known to produce dwarf male plant, which is also known as Nanandrium. And the species that produce dwarf male are known as Nanandrium species. So coming to the habitat, all the species of Oodogonium, they are aquatic and grows in freshwater bodies like ponds, pools and shallow lakes, where they are found attached to some substrate that could be stone, rock or wood. And they are often found to grow epiphytically. Epiphytically means they are found to grow on another plant. That could be a hydrophytic plant or a big alga. The filaments of Oodogonium, they are attached on the substratum by means of a special cell which is known as Hohlfast cell. Students, here you can see this picture. This is how the Oodogonium filament looks when you are looking it under the microscope at 400x magnification. The cells are cylindrical and this is the lowermost cell which helps in the attachment and known as the Hohlfast cell. Now let's know about the plant body or thallus. The plant body in Oodogonium, it is long, multicellular and unbranched, and each thread is known as the filament. Each filament consists of single row of elongated cylindrical cells which are arranged end to end. The basal cell of the filament, which is known as rhizoidal cell or the Hohlfast cell, it is slightly broader towards its upper end, where it is attached with the other cells of the filament, and the lower end of the cell or the Hohlfast, it is expanded into flat disc with outgrowth. In mature condition, most of the filaments, they break and floats on the surface of water, forming yellowish green mats. The free end of the filament, it is broadly rounded, known as apical cell. Coming to the cell structure, the vegetative cells, they are made up of thickened rigid cell wall that encloses protoplast. And here the cell wall is differentiated into three layers: innermost layer, middle layer and outer layer. Here the inner layer is made up of cellulose, middle is made up of pectin, and the outer layer is made up of chitin. The protoplast, here it is differentiated into thin plasma membrane and cytoplasm, which encloses a central vacuole containing the cell sap. There is a single large nucleus that lies in the middle of the cell, and there is also a single large massive reticulate chloroplast with large number of pyrenoids which are embedded in the cytoplasm. The chloroplast, it extends from one end of the cell towards the other end, and its position is parietal. Few intercalary cells, they possess one or more ring-like striations or markings which is made up of hemicellulose at their distal end. These are known as apical caps or scars, and the cells that possess these apical caps or scars are called as cap cells. The presence of cap cells is also a distinguished feature of Ootogonium. Now coming to the growth, Ootogonium shows a very peculiar kind of growth that occurs by an increase in the number of cells in the filament, and it is also a diagnostic feature of this cell gum. Not all the cells in Ootogonium, they are able to divide and helps in growth. Instead, only those cells which have the ring striations or the cap cells, they can only undergo division. Okay, let's know about how the cell division occurs. Cell division, it is very unique, and it occurs by following these three steps. These are, firstly, formation of a ring, which is then followed by the division of the nucleus into two daughter nuclei, and then the formation of new cell. So let's know about the ring formation first. It starts with the movement of the nucleus to the center of the cell, which is then followed by the formation of thickened transverse ring of cellulose, which is formed towards the upper end of the cell, towards the inner side of lateral wall. This ring, it gradually increases in thickness, as a result of which it becomes grooved with the open part covered by the outer layer. Now, the nucleus, it migrates upward, and it is about 1/3 distance from the upper end of the cell. Here this nucleus, it divides mitotically into two daughter nuclei. So this is where the nuclear division occurs. It is then followed by the formation of a floating septum in between the two daughter nuclei which remains unconnected with the longitudinal wall of the cell. Now, at the place of the ring, at the level of the ring, the outer and the middle layers which are external to the groove, they starts to rupture, which allows stretching of the thickened portion, and the cell it elongates to about double of its normal length. Simultaneously, this septum it is pushed upward where it finally became fixed just near the lower end of the disintercalated membrane. The upper daughter cell which is now formed, it has now a new bounding wall which is made up of the intercalated membrane and the newly synthesized septum. Now, the portion of the ruptured parent wall, it looks like it is fitted like a cap at its upper end, and the other portion of the wall, it fits like a sheath at the lower end, which gives it as a characteristic ring-like marking which is called as the apical ring. So this is how the apical rings are formed, and the apical rings are present only on those cells which has undergone division, and as the successive divisions takes place at the same place, a number of apical rings are developed there, which gives this alga a striated appearance. Thus, what we say, students, by counting the number of these apical rings on the capsule, you can get to know about how many number of division this cell has undergone. Now next come to the reproduction part. In Oedogonium, reproduction it occurs by three means. These are vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. In this lecture, we will discuss only the vegetative and asexual reproduction, and the sexual one we will discuss in the next lecture. Vegetative reproduction it occurs by fragmentation, while asexual reproduction occurs by the formation of spores, which are zoospores and echinids. So let's study one by one. Firstly, I am going to discuss the vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is the reproduction which involves regeneration of the plant body from any part of the thallus, or you can say from any part of the filament. It does not involve the formation of spores or the formation of gametes and fusion. And in Oedogonium, it involves fragmentation. Under vegetative reproduction, we are going to study fragmentation. So students, it is a method where breakage of the filament occurs. Here you can see this is the one filament. I wrote A here. This filament A breaks into fragment, that is B or C. This breakage can occur either by dying out of the cells, by accident breakage in the filament, or also by the formation of zoospores, which are the spores which are produced during the asexual reproduction, or the gametes, that could be a female or the male gamete, in between the filament, that leads to the breakage of the parent filament into segments, which is known as fragment. So here the parent filament A, it breaks into segment, that is B and C, and each of the B and C fragment can then, by further division, which we have already discussed, by undergoing cell division and growth, it can grow into a new plant. So B and C are the new plants which have been arised from the parent plant A. So this is about the vegetative one. Now coming to the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction which does not involve the formation of the gametes and its fusion, as it occurs in the sexual reproduction. And there are various means of sexual reproduction which can be seen in different genera of algae. Here in Oedogonium, asexual reproduction occurs by sporulation. Sporulation means by formation of spores. And here two types of spores are formed. These are zoospores and echinates. So let's know about them one by one. Firstly, zoospores. The environmental conditions which are required for the formation of or development of zoospores are presence of certain amount of carbon dioxide in the surrounding medium. Then where they are formed? Any of the capsules. Usually the recently divided one may become a zoosporangium. Zoosporangium is the structure, students, where zoospores are formed. Inside of the zoosporangium, it is a sac-like structure inside of which zoospores are formed. So let's know about zoospore formation. Zoospores, they are formed singly. In one zoosporangium, only one zoospore is formed. So they are produced singly. And what happens? Firstly, the entire protoplast of the zoosporangium, it withdraws from the wall. Then the nucleus, it moves towards one side. The protoplast, it gets round up, which is then followed by formation of a semicircular colorless area at one side. This side is known as the anterior side of the zoospore. Then, after its formation, a single or double row of blepharoblast granules, they starts to appear just below the anterior end, and from each granule arises single flagellum. So thus, each zoospore, here you can see, each zoospore has ring of flagellum which is present just below the colorless bead, which is called as the anterior pole of the zoospore. Now coming to the zoospore structure. The mature zoospore, it is deep green in color. It is either spherical in shape or pear-shaped, having an interior side, below which we have a ring of short flagellum. Ring of short flagellum. The zoospore, it also poses an eye spot, chloroplast, and many contractile vacuoles which are present near the periphery of the zoospore. Now once the zoospores they attain maturity, they will librate. And how this libration occurs? The wall of the filament where the zoosporangium is there, it ruptures transversely near the region of the apical cap, as a result of which the filament, it breaks into two halves. The zoospore, it is initially, it comes out in a vesicle, mucilaginous vesicle. Then this vesicle, it ruptures, and zoospore, it comes out from the zoosporangium. Now the zoosporangium, it will swim freely for some time, and finally it settles on a solid substratum by its anterior end. This is the anterior end, students. So during the germination, the zoospores, it will settle on the substratum by its anterior end. That is by this colorless portion. And then it germinates. But before that, the zoospore, it withdraws its flagella and secretes a cell wall around it. Then the colorless interior end, by which it is attaching to the substratum, it develops into a simple or a branched holdfast. Then this one cell germling, as it is one cell, it has not undergone division. Now it will undergo transverse division in the same manner which we have already discussed, and which is followed by further divisions which lead it to the formation of a multicellular unbranched filament. So this is how the asexual zoospores, they form a new plant. So let's know about the echinids. Echinids, these are the spores which only develop under the unfavorable conditions. When the plant body is facing some unfavorable conditions, then only echinids are formed. And here you can see they are reddish brown in color, and they are very thick walled, and each protoplast of the cell, it changes into a single echinid. They can occur in chain inside inflated cells which resembles an oogonium. They contain abundant food material in the form of starch, and the red color of the echinate is due to the reddish orange oil. They can perennate the unfavorable conditions in this form, and on the return of suitable conditions, echinates, they will germinate and produce a new filament. So students, this is all about today's lecture on Oodogonium, where we have learned about the systematic position, salient features, habitat, plant body structure, cell ultrastructure, and reproduction in Oodogonium. After watching this lecture, you will be able to answer these FAQs, frequently asked questions. Try to answer these questions at your part, and most importantly, students, practice the diagrams as these questions are mostly asked in the examination. I have written some diagrammatic questions also. Try to solve them. So thanks for watching this lecture. I hope through this lecture you were able to understand today's topic. Next we will come with Oodogonium part 2, where I shall be discussing sexual reproduction in Oodogonium.